Class of 2017, your MC for this evening. We are live streaming for this event from the beautiful Elm Hurst Inn in Ingersoll, Ontario. And hello and welcome to those at home who are tuning in. Today is our opportunity to spotlight and profile some of the best young farmers that Ontario agriculture has to offer. You will meet young men and women who have achieved success and demonstrated leadership in their agricultural community. You may be wondering, what is Outstanding Young Farmers? To help answer that question, we will share a short video that was filmed at Canada's Outdoor Farm Show during the 2017 Ontario Regional event. And here, take a look.
Outstanding Young Farmer program is this amazing program that highlights great things that are being done by young people in agriculture across the country. So each of our provinces has their own program where we choose someone to represent the province, and then we have them compete nationally to declare a national Outstanding Young Farmer. It has been an amazing program for us. We have been able to network with some of the most amazing individuals who we are able to learn so much from and take home and make decisions on our own farm. The Outstanding Young Farmers program is a program that celebrates excellence in agriculture. It's like nominees from all over Ontario brought together for a judging process, and they're judged on things such as innovation in their farms, progress, environmental stewardship, financial management, components such as that. They're judged by 3 judges, and then at the banquet they announce the winner. And generally the winner has been someone who is someone or a couple that is progressive and that values all aspects of agriculture and that is committed to being an advocate for agriculture to the public and bringing agriculture beyond just agriculture.
For me, the Outstanding Young Farmer organization is really the biggest benefit that I see is networking. We've really met a great group of people, whether it's the nominees that we've met through the process or past winners. It's really a great chance to meet a very diverse group from farms across Canada and across different industries within agriculture. Really eye-opening some of the different types of farms that are out there and what you can learn from the group. So
for me, the most important part of the program is that the winner really is given an opportunity to have a voice more than a farmer would otherwise, to speak about agriculture, and everywhere we go now, people will say, I saw your paper, what was that about? And we're given an opportunity to talk about our operation and speak to the public about what agriculture is. There's a website that anyone can go to try to find out more about the program. Once a year, there's a competition in Ontario, and we have individuals and couples that come out to run for the Outstanding Young Farmer title. And when we choose a winner from Ontario, they go on to compete nationally. But the program is super friendly. It's a fantastic program. Everyone's welcome. And if anyone's interested in running for this, we highly, highly recommend that you get in touch with our coordinator, get in touch with anyone that knows about the program. Check us out on the website.
The 3 Ontario's Outstanding Young Farmer finalists demonstrate a high level of commitment and dedication to their farm businesses. Their detailed application forms were submitted to a panel of 3 judges prior to today's event, and this afternoon they each had a 20-minute interview with the judges where they presented their farming businesses. Today we are celebrating and congratulating them on their nomination, and we are looking forward to hearing their presentations. The Ontario public is truly fortunate to have such farmers producing such high-quality food. These young people are now members of a province-wide family of farmers who believe in agricultural success in all that it offers. We will hear the personal stories of people who have gone against the popular belief. They have overcome hardships and obstacles. They are filled with passion for what they do, and they are committed farmers, and you'll soon see why. These young farmers are recognized in their communities as being somehow different from others and they were nominated for the Ontario Outstanding Young Farmer Award. They graciously accepted the nomination, and we are grateful for the commitment each of these 3 finalists have shown in completing the extensive application form, committing to the judging process, and finally sharing their stories with us here tonight. Each of these couples have a wonderful story, and we are excited to share them now with you. The 2021 Ontario's Outstanding Young Farmers finalists are Mike and Danielle Cornelison, Twin Creeks Greenhouse, Watford, Ontario. Ryan and Romy Schill, Circle R Livestock, Wallenstein, Ontario. Jenny Butcher and Wes Kuntz, Little Brown Cow Dairy in Brantford, Ontario. Congratulations to you all. Finalists will now deliver their presentations, and there will be an opportunity for questions and answers following. For those at home, you can use the comment feature to forward your question. It is now my pleasure to introduce Mike and Danielle Cornelison to the podium. Welcome.
I grew up on a cash crop broiler chicken farm just down the road from where we live now. Growing up, I always enjoyed farming and knew from a young age I was going to come home to the family farm. Once I graduated high school, I was off to Richtown College where I got my diploma in agriculture. While in Richtown, I spent a year in Alberta at Holtz College getting my degree in agribusiness. After a year in Alberta and 8-month co-op in the greenhouse, I went home to the family farm.
I was born and raised a city girl. I grew up in London, Ontario, and never thought my future would be in agriculture. After high school, I attended Western University, where I got a degree in business. After finishing university, I went to work in accounting for a development company in London, where I worked for a few years before we started the greenhouse. Mike and I met at summer camp when we were 16 and started dating a year later. I knew before we went on our first date that there was no taking Mike out of the country, and I would be moving there if we stayed together. We dated through high school and university, through living 45 minutes apart to living a couple provinces apart when Mike went to Olds. 6 years later, when we were both done school, we both got married. We got married in 2016, the same year we built our first 10 acres of greenhouse. Planning a wedding and building a greenhouse at the same time was a great team building and marriage prep exercise for us. We knew when we got married that we wanted to build a life and a family together, and for us that meant working together. We were fortunate that as part of Mike's family succession plan, his parents were able to help us start the greenhouse.
Building a greenhouse was a topic in our household for many years. I grew up down the road from one of the largest landfills in Ontario, and when I was 7 or 8, my dad had the idea to harness the methane gas that was flared at the landfill into boilers to heat a greenhouse. Although this discussion started many years ago, it was not until I was in college and about to come home to the family farm that I brought up the topic of a greenhouse again. My uncle was in the greenhouse and I spent a lot of time in his greenhouse growing up. When the topic of building our own came up again, I approached my uncle about doing the university co-op at his place so I could learn more about the industry. When we knew we wanted to move forward with the project, we approached landfill owned by Waste Management about making a deal to harness the methane gas. This deal took about a year to put together. We felt like the greenhouse industry were a growing industry with the global market requiring more fresh produce year-round basis. The market also required increased food safety, food security, and environmentally friendly practices, and we believe that the greenhouse is able to meet all these demands. But why did bell peppers, you ask? The main reason is when we started the whole project, our only source of heat was going to be methane gas from the landfill, and we would buy liquid CO2. Because we would not safely use the CO2 from methane gas. Of the different greenhouse crops, peppers were the crop that yield was least affected by less amounts of CO2. Although we planned to run only on methane during construction, we were able to work with a natural gas provider to put a pipeline to supply our greenhouse with natural gas as well as methane. Natural gas boilers are able to produce a CO2 instead of buying liquid CO2. When we started in 2016, we only had 10 acres, which is a quarter of the greenhouse pictured on the bottom left here. We are now at 40 acres and have room to grow to 80 acres on this property we are on now. When planning for the growth of the greenhouse, I learned from my dad to plan for the future. We started by planning for the full 80 acres of development and scaled it back to 10 acres, the amount we wanted to start with.
With our first 10 acres of greenhouse, we had built the production area, warehouse and packing area, boiler rooms, a few bathrooms, and a lunch area, the essentials we needed to get started. With our last build, it was important to us to have a space that our family could work and spend time together. We spent a lot of time at work and wanted to make sure our kids were able to be with us and get involved in the farm. So we built an office building with our last 20-acre build.
One of our biggest parts of the first phase was figuring out how we were going to burn the landfill gas. This was an important part of the process because it was what was going to help our greenhouse be environmentally and economically friendly. As such, we partnered with companies that were able to make our vision a reality. Today, we have been successfully burning landfill gas for 5 years. We initially started with one methane boiler, one natural gas boiler, which were able to heat our first 2 phases of greenhouse. With the last build, we had to add another 2 boilers, one for methane, one for natural gas. We have 4 boilers that heat our 40 acres of greenhouse. The methane boilers, one of our greatest challenges and assets starting our business. Since it is not a common way to produce heat, there are many kinks to work out. And though if I run a few New Year's Eves working on the boilers instead of being home with my wife, these boilers provide us a competitive advantage in our industry.
This is us with our first crop of bell peppers in February of 2017. At this point, both Mike and I were heavily involved in all aspects of the greenhouse, from planting the plants to picking and packing peppers, even cleaning bathrooms and lunchrooms, along with our office and managerial duties. When we first started the greenhouse, it took some time to be able to get on the program to hire offshore employees due to the fact we needed to have 6 months worth of income to show that we were able to support their wages. Because of this, we hired as many locals as we could, but relied heavily on the support of our family and friends to help us plant and maintain our first crop. Our first plants were planted by parents, grandparents, siblings, friends, and neighbors, and we're so grateful for all of them. We start each year by planting a new pepper crop. Our first year we had 10 acres of red bell peppers, then expanded to 20 acres of red bell peppers, and are now at 20 acres of red, 10 acres of yellow, and 10 acres of orange for a total of 40 acres of bell peppers. We chose this diversity in pepper color to be able to package peppers in multicolored bags as well as bulk boxes, which helps us diversify our income. We plant our peppers in December, and it normally takes until March for our peppers to be ready for picking. During these 3 months with no production, we work on our crop by maintaining it by putting up sticky tape for bugs, dropping strings to tie the crop up, and pruning the plants, among other things. It's important for us to get the crop off to a good start. All of our peppers are grown hydroponically in bags of cocoa. There are different growing mediums, but we chose cocoa largely for its environmental benefits to our total operation. At the end of each season, we clean out our crop and dispose of the waste, which is by far our busiest time of year. Cocoa is a medium we're able to spread over the acres of the cash crop operation and adds organic matter and fertilizer back into the fields. Being a hydroponic greenhouse is also beneficial in that our gutter system allows us to recycle and reuse water that's drained from the crop. We have 584,000 plants in the greenhouse. We plant the plants when they're 36 days old from a propagating greenhouse. These plants last for a year and produce peppers for approximately 8 to 9 months of that year. During this time, the plants produce about 36 peppers per plant. During our growing season, it's not just picking peppers that keeps us busy. Our employees must also prune each plant once a week, scout the crop for pests and diseases, pack the peppers, and maintenance the greenhouse and equipment.
New technology is something we're always looking to implement in our greenhouse. Whether it's technology to make us more efficient, more biosecure, or safer, we are looking into. This is a picture of a root washer we purchased to be able to apply UV roof coatings. The coatings helps protect our peppers employees from damaging sun rays. Prior to this, we hired a company to come out to coat our roofs and remove the coating. Being able to do this ourselves results in us getting the coating on more timely, resulting in better yields. Along with the roof wash, we also implemented our other practices such as energy screens to help keep the heat in the greenhouse in the winter, thus lowering the amount of gas we need to burn. As well, we have put netting in the vents to keep bugs and pests out, reducing the amount of bios we need to put out and chemicals we need to spray. We have also put blowers above all the doors to increase biosecurity, blowing pests off people and products moving through the greenhouse. As well, we have made separate lunchroom, change rooms, entrances to enhance our biosecurity and COVID safety practices. Although adopting technology and equipment, we have also upgraded some of our original equipment over the years. We started with one of the most simple picking systems shown on the left, and now we have one of the most advanced shown on the right. Today we have 64 self-driving carts to drive full carts of peppers from the pickers in the greenhouse to the buffer system and pack house. The carts themselves are also able to raise and lower within the crop of peppers to be able to better accommodate the height of the growing crop. Originally, we used pepper shoots to be able to pick the peppers from the top of the plants. The new picking system saves the pickers time to bring the carts to the pack house or moving the pepper shoots around. We have also upgraded our pack line. This is our original pack line. It was used when we bought it, but it was in great shape and got the job done. The pack line was ran by a team of 7 to 9 people storing peppers, loading boxes onto skids. On a good day of packing, we were able to pack between 30 to 45 skids. Each transport truck loaded about 30 skids to give you a rough idea. This is our new pack line. We knew when we expanded from 20 acres to 40 acres that our original pack line would not be able to handle the amount of peppers that we needed to put through it. So we started researching new pack lines. It was important to us to use the new technology to help provide better product to our customers and make it easier and more efficient for our staff to do the job. We took a trip to the Netherlands and a year and a half of design to come up with a system that we felt was the best for us. Our new pack line is able to package 30 skids of peppers every 3 hours with 9 people working on it. Although our system's new, we're still looking at adding new systems to it to be able to get more production of our pack line. Systems such as a new camera system to help sort the peppers and other packaging options that are more efficient.
Since we started, we've not only expanded in acres of greenhouse, but also our staff and our family. 5 years later, here we are with our 2 boys who love being at the greenhouse. We hired more key staff to help us run the greenhouse on a daily basis, such as a grower, labor manager, administrative assistant, and maintenance staff. Now that we have more key staff in place and grown to a larger size, I'm able to focus on my office work. I take care of areas such as hiring and applying for offshore employees, payroll, WSIB, accounting, grant applications, and food safety, among other things.
Now I focus more on the overall operation of the business, from growing, packing, maintenance, innovative practices, and technology knowledge.
We now employ just over 50 employees, both local and offshore. Some of our employees have been with us since our first crop, and some of them are new to us each year. Health and safety of our workers is important to us. As such, we make sure that our employees receive proper training and onboarding to make sure they're comfortable in their work environment and get off to a good start. We try to go above and beyond in creating an enjoyable work environment. We tend to work many long hours and put on events to show our employees we appreciate their hard work, through employee appreciation lunches, soccer tournaments, and more. Along with our amazing staff, we have had other industry members help us grow and develop our business. Everyone from our relationship manager at our financial institution, consultants, vendor representatives, and many more.
We'll also be able to grow our business by participating in various grant programs. Many of our innovative and new technologies around the greenhouse were more economically feasible with the help of funding. Continuing education is something that's very important to us. This is on a trip to Holland to the local greenhouse conference. While we were there, we toured other greenhouses, greenhouse equipment manufacturers, building facilities. We were able to see some of our materials being loaded for the construction of our second build, which took us to 20 acres of greenhouse. It was really interesting to be able to see how our greenhouse is built right from the beginning. Along attending the greenhouse conferences such as the Greenhouse Conference in Holland, we also attend other conferences in Canada, take workshops and courses, and subscribe to many various agricultural magazines to keep us informed and up to date on our industry.
Giving back to our community is also very important to us. We donate peppers throughout the year to local charities, food banks, such as Inn of the Good Shepherd, Watford's Thanksgiving Food Drive, and local sports teams who sell their peppers to raise money for sporting events.
We also enjoy personally being involved in the community and giving back volunteer work. I volunteer with the local swim prop committee and also served as president. I am also involved in our local Optimist Club as vice president. On each of these committees, I plan meetings and charity events.
I initially started getting involved in our community through local sports teams like ball hockey, baseball, and soccer. I now volunteer for a community fair by helping organize our cash pop and grain king and queen competition. I also volunteer for the Libro Governance Committee and am part of the Libro Annual Grants Committee that helps review and assign grant money to charity and not-for-profit applicants. Mike and I always say that the best thing his parents could have done for us was help us start our own business. Although there were many bumps and bruises along the way, we believe we grew so much as individuals and as a couple learning to build our business from the ground up. Why do we do what we do, you may ask? Well, this is why. Our kids are both under 2, but you can already see the passion they have for farming. Our oldest learned to walk in the greenhouse, and they both love to smiling at employees and going for trying rides with Dad. Although we both have a passion for what we do, our drive to be successful and grow the business comes from wanting to support our children and create a business they may want to take over in the future. At the age of 28, we have grown our business, our family, and as people more than we ever knew possible. We hope to grow to 80 acres of greenhouse, but most importantly, we hope to continue to grow as people. Thank you for your time.
So we have time for 5 minutes of questions for Mike and Danielle. If anyone has a question, please come up to the mic.
Great job. I'm curious how you would describe your farm being different than other greenhouses. What's your point of difference?
I would say the biggest difference is we really honed in on innovative practices. I would say there's other operations that do the same thing, but they've been a lot more well-developed operations. We're definitely the new kids to the block, but we took that same principle from day one. We try to still be like a family farm, like I guess like not huge in scale, but like comfortable size. So we try to work well with our team and stuff, and get everyone involved in our operation. We like taking ideas from our employees and other people that work with us. It's definitely not just about us; it's about the team. And there's operations that definitely do that, but we try to do it as a younger operation, and we get a lot of younger people involved and grow that with us.
Yeah, I would also say like our methane boilers, from a strictly growing aspect, would be something too that differentiates us. There aren't too many greenhouses, if any, that heat their greenhouse with methane, and we've been lucky enough to grow that project.
Great presentation, folks. That was amazing. One thing I would like to announce for the folks watching at home also, you should be able to put questions in the comments, I believe, Bethany, and we can try to get to those as well. One thing I'd like to know from Mike and Danielle, where do you see yourselves in 5 years? I mean, you've had tremendous growth up to this point. Is it sustainable? Can you keep growing like that?
We've definitely been busy the last 5 years. We would like to take a little break in our growth and refine our practices a little bit more, focus on being the best we can be in our growing operation and in our business. And we grew so quickly trying to scale up, and it's been a great ride so far, but I think we would really like to focus on what we're doing for the next 5 years.
Great presentation, Mike and Danielle. I'm wondering if you can talk about some of the innovative technologies that you're maybe looking at for the future. And a secondary question would be around lighting. So you read a lot about the greenhouse industry and some of the controversy around the light emissions. Is there anything that you're able to do in your greenhouse around that, or is that a problem on your farm at all?
Okay, I guess we'll start. We just purchased, or on the works of purchasing, a camera system that will store peppers. I know in apples and pears it's been around for quite a while. There's a few in the peppers, but very few, so we'll be one of the earlier adopters of this technology. The company we work with is actually the first project they've done in peppers. So that's our next big innovation that we're adopting. Yeah, and we are, there's a scouting robot, the Equation, that we adopted this year. We're just finding more ways to adopt technology to assist our employees to make their jobs easier. Like our picking system was one, I think the third one in North America, that system. In Europe, there's tons of them. But it doesn't officially like get rid of people, but it does make their job less backbreaking. So it assists them to work quicker by making their job easier and quality of food a little bit better. So we're always like researching the new stuff. We're not trying to be first ones, but we're trying to be on the leading edge, I guess. So we'll see. Most of them have been working out pretty good for us, but I know the landfill gas, we have done multiple updates to our system because with engineer didn't quite work the way it was planned. So we got it to work, but it definitely takes time to get it work properly.
In terms of lighting, I guess that kind of leads into it. Like lighting in pepper greenhouses is quite new, so we're kind of seeing how that is going. The first crop of peppers with the light greenhouse just came out this year.
Yeah, last winter.
Last winter, so it's definitely something that's interesting and new, and we're definitely open to it. But again, it's still in the learning phase for us. So.
Yeah, and there is ways to black out your greenhouse. You have like less light emissions. You can black out screens, but there's issues with that too because light's produced so much heat. So if you're truly black out your greenhouse, you're trapping all the heat inside, so you actually overheat your greenhouse. So I know that's where some of the issues those guys are having is they need a way to release that heat, but if you open your screens, you're also releasing light. So that's kind of what they're struggling with right now.
Thank you, guys.
All right, great stuff, Mike and Danielle. Thank you. If I could please welcome Ryan and then Romy Show. Thank you.
Good evening, guests, fellow farmers, judges. My name is Ryan, and this is my wife, Romy. Along with our three kids, Cameron, Emerson, and Adeline, we operate Circle R Livestock and Revolution Wool Company here in Elmira, Ontario. This is our farm today. We raise purebred and commercial sheep, layer breeder chicken hens, and now we're in the wool business.
The farm we manage today was purchased from Ryan's grandparents in 2008. Our family is fortunate to be the fourth and fifth generations on this farm, but we would also like to acknowledge the original caretakers of this area, the Indigenous peoples. As settlers, we hope to honor the land to the best of our abilities and learn more about the land's history and build community and foster future connections. We started like many farm kids, helping our parents do chores, willingly or not, and enjoying all that country life had to offer. Ryan always dreamed of being a farmer, me, not so much. It wasn't until I wanted to go to university that my mom suggested the benefits of agriculture. We met doing 4-H and enjoyed doing lots of clubs together. After I finished my degree at the University of Guelph and Ryan his certificate at Lakeland College in Alberta, we started this crazy farming journey.
Starting out as young farmers is hard, especially when taking over a running operation. We juggled many expectations that the status quo was going to work for us to pay a mortgage. We had a mixed operation of feeder cattle, dairy finished pigs, and dairy breeder chickens in old barns. I started with 25 sheep in 2005, but I started to take over, myself and my grandpa. The sheep started it all. The market potential and ability to expand were the main forces to focus on sheep production. In 2008, we got married and officially took over from my grandparents. Since then, it's been us managing and running the farm full-time, and all farm jobs to make it all work. Romy worked off farm for about 5 years in dairy feed sales, and I also worked off the farm when we had kids. Being able to make our own decisions led to big changes starting in 2010. We got rid of the pigs and cattle to expand a sheep operation, and we worked towards a full-time farm. Shopping trip to Alberta for sheep led us to focus on horse genetics. The first 25 increased to 200 over the next few years.
We renovated all of the barns. Space was made in just about every corner to have sheep. We needed to use and maximize what we had with our available finances. Quality breeding stock and a focus on accelerated year-round production was key in driving our decisions. We saw and still see endless potential for sheep in Canadian agriculture. At about this time, we also had our first little junior farmer.
The later breeder flock was something that we had kept after taking over. We modernized feeding and water systems, and in recent years we were able to increase the flock size from 1,200 to 2,700 hens. The rollaway nests have also made for cleaner eggs. We work with a local hatchery to provide for roll eggs. We still need a hand gather and sort for hatching size, but it has been great. It has been a great help with cash flow, with stable income and work.
The vision statement for our sheep operation is bovine of opportunity. We see opportunity to provide a quality protein to our customers through our local processors, our auction, and other producers. The end goal is a fast-growing meat lamb, providing success for everyone along the chain. We focus on 2 groups of genetics now: the purebred Dorsets to offer the traditional mothering and fast-growing terminal genetics, and a maternal side that focuses on more lambs per ewe, out-of-season breeding, and mothering ability. Selling breeding stock allows us to capture a higher price for our stock, but also takes more investment and time and effort. We hope that these goals help further the industry.
To meet our goals, we put a big focus on sheep nutrition. We started out with dry hay and our tooled silos for feed storage, and then worked towards full TMR rations for all stages of production. We've also found that housing our sheep helps us to avoid pasture parasites and predators. At the same time, we have ideal feeds for sheep that land in the middle of winter. Crop and land management is important to growing good crops for the sheep. After our second junior farmer was born, I went to work off farm. First for a large grain operation, and then for a crop input supply company. These connections and skills have helped in making decisions and improvements on our farm. We aim to do no-till, add cover crops, and do soil and manure testing to fine-tune the nutrients for what the soil and crops need. As the flock grew, we were able to improve our sheep feeding options. We added bins for bulk feed, started trying TMR from our lambs, and had custom mineral meat. Little things like inoculum on the silage and hilly also helped improve feed quality. Consistent quality feeds throughout the year has helped us to manage the sheep on the accelerated program.
Our goal with the accelerated program is to have sheep lamb year-round. Basically, each ewe will be lambing 3 times in 2 years. This helps spread out our workload and our income. Record keeping and a software program help us manage all these groups. It's basically 4 groups of ewes cycling through the phases of breeding, pregnancy, lambing, and being dry. Record keeping also helps us improve the stock that we choose as replacements and to sell as breeding stock.
With all these groups, good sheep handling is essential. Use the CombiPlant system for sorting, weighing, hoof trimming, ultrasound, and shearing, and vaccinations. It's helped make it easy and stress-free on the sheep and humans.
It's great for marriage counseling. The record keeping and sheep handling starts right at birth when we take weight and record lambing details. We can then follow that sheep and its group all the way through. They might all look the same at birth, but they have a different story to tell, as we want to pick the top animals. Weaning happens in around 60 days and about 45 to 50 pounds of weight. The 100-day weight goal is about 100 pounds. All these lambs might hit that same weight target, but they have different EPDs and genetic indexes. In 2015, our 3rd little junior farmer came along. Ryan took some time off work, and we enjoyed being home together. This also gave some time to experiment and research with wool. Wool has always been something that farmers have had to deal with. Unfortunately, in Canada, we don't get much for it. It's either exported and we don't see it again, or it's wasted and thrown away. But I knew that wool makes yarn and yarn makes sweaters, so I started to experiment. I sent some wool to a local mill and got a little bit of yarn made. I got involved with the Upper Canada Fiber Shed, a group that focuses on networking and showcasing local wool and fiber. I attended fiber festivals and saw the amazing things that were going on. Certainly we could do this with our wool and Canadian wool. This has also turned into an outlet for my artistic and craft side.
I was getting tired of working out. Juggling the farm and job takes its toll. We decided it was time to do a big jump from our current 400 views at this time up to about 800. Romy took a Master Shepherd's course and has started to develop a business plan. This plan helped when we approached FCC for a loan to build a barn and buy more sheep. The plan also gave us confidence in what we were doing. And in March 2018, we broke ground, and we had sheep in the new barn by October. We also included space for the farm in the barn of the wool shop. With the expansion, we also added silos to increase feed storage and a new vertical TMR mixer that had more feeding options. Today, our feed consists of corn salad, silage, straw, cow meal, dried bacillus, grains, foliage, and minerals.
These are a few virgin sheep that arrived before the barn ended up being ready. We made space for them in the outside yard and decided to put the rams in anyways to keep with our lambing schedule. We joked that they would all breed. They did. It was a busy winter of lambing with our first group of over 300 due at the same time. We also did some AI with some semen from Australia on some of our Dorset genetics. These have been a great addition. The spring of 2019 was also when Ryan officially quit work and we drove home full time. And that brings us to today. Since we built the new barn, we've gotten into a good pattern with our accelerated program and lambing. We've gotten over the hump of some sheep health challenges and have found that good rhythm. There are about 150 to 200 ewes lambing in the 6 different groups a year, and market lambs head out the door almost weekly in the peak groups. Ryan focuses on the crop production, sheep feeding, and the chickens and financial record keeping. I focus on breeding, sheep record keeping, lambing, and the wool business. And of course, we wrangle the kids in there too.
Some of the biggest things that help us reach our goals today are custom operators that limit our time and investment with machinery. We hire out most of the planting, baling, and harvesting. This allows us to have more time to focus on livestock. Our nutritionist plays a major role in dealing with our mini rations and crops. She has been a great asset in finding the rations to meet our production goals. Courtney also brings insight, tips, and tricks she learns from other sheep farms to help us advance as well.
Lambing is my jam, and this is where I love spending time in the barn. Lambing is also always where we have to spend lots of time to ensure things like colostrum intake, bonding, record keeping, and sheep health. With our more prolific sheep, we also are dealing with more multiples, twins, quads, even quintuplets sometimes. We leave twins on the mums and manage the rest of the lambs on a milk feeder machine. We do ultrasound for pregnancy checking, which helps us manage the groups, especially close up to lambing, and are using teaser rams to help with getting used to cycle naturally and out of season.
We like being involved in networking within the industry to learn and grow. We participate on our local district sheep committee for the Ontario sheep farmers. Romy is also on the board for egg sites in the Upper Canada Fiber Shed. Having the ability to know what goes on beyond the farm gate, but what impacts our farm is important. Offering tours and sharing our stories is part of this. We're always open to have tours for 4-H groups, new farmers, and non-farm customers. Sharing our story with those who don't have a farm background is important to us. So many are removed from agriculture. It's important that they have a connection to where their food and fiber comes from to build a rapport and trust.
Social media, specifically Instagram, has been central in sharing our farm story. Not only do I get to meet and communicate with other amazing farmers, the public gets to see what goes on and ask questions. On the Circle Our Land page, I share all the nitty-gritty, the day-to-day things, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the funny things the kids do, the little tips and tricks videos, and of course, baby lambs being born. These connections are key. Creators like Sandy Brock of Sheepishly Me have helped create the buzz around sheep farming, and we're so glad to be a part of this amazing group of farmers sharing our story on social media. Social media, along with our website and networking, has also really helped to build our sheep sales. Breeding ewe lambs are sold out over a year in advance, and our breeding rams sell out each year. Last year, I also started a podcast called The Curious Sheep. I always get asked lots of questions and wanted a way to compile this information and conversations with experts and other farmers. I've recorded 25 episodes which have been listened to over 13,000 times. I think it's safe to say that people love sheep. On the Revolution Wool Co. page, I share the more wool-specific information and products, like how I dye the yarn, how the wool goes from sheep to pillow. Sharing videos, I'm told, are like watching the holiday fireplace.
Another key in our farm is family, of course. Whether it's using Dad's extra tractor or equipment, or getting Grandma to babysit and make lunch. All the support has helped us get where we are today. The last few years have been a little more flexible with all the kids at school during the day, but when they are home, they can be a great help if they choose to be. Over the last year, our farm has also taken on some part-time employees to help with chores and egg cleaning, having extra hands available when we are busy or wanted to get away has been great. As the kids get older, we want to make sure they have a space to fit in and farm as they want to. We need to make sure to have family time and time away from the farm as well. We actually took a weekend away this year to celebrate our anniversary.
Our wool business has expanded rapidly since rebranding to Revolution Wool Company over the past year. We value and want to showcase the revolutions that happen on the farm and in the transformation of the wool to its final products. It's been a great way to use what we already have and add more value. It's also a great way to offer a natural and renewable product to consumers to help reduce carbon footprints. It started with just yarns, but now includes bedding, pillows, handmade items, and felt products. I collaborate with dyers who dye our yarn for their own brands and patterns and products. I also dye with plants from around our farm. Natural dyes is a great fit for a pure wool yarn. I've also made great connections with local knitting and weaving guilds and done lots of Zoom farm tours. We focus a lot on online sales and fiber-specific markets. We ship across Canada and into the US. Here's a picture of our farm store today, a rainbow of our naturally dyed yarns and some fluffy pillows with no ends. I'm excited to say that this year our whole wool clip has been used and sent away for processing, and I hope to buy from other producers soon.
We see endless potential for new and diversified farms in the sheep and wool industry. We hope to continue mentorship and support to those wanting to enter and grow our operations. It can look like chaos some days, and it certainly is, but we like it. It all has a plan. Thank you.
Time for questions, anyone?
Great job, guys. I'm just curious, so you farm out some of the jobs. I think you had planting and that sort of a number of field jobs done. Do you find it's an issue with quality control and getting those jobs done to your satisfaction, or you're quite happy with getting those custom operators? And economically, does that seem to fit the bill for your operation more so than trying to buy that expensive equipment just for the number of acres for yourself? Just if you can expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, so like I said, we hire out planting, building, and harvesting. We also work alongside with my dad a bit. He has a lot of equipment, but it's a lot of it's more than older and it's aged. The harvest quality feed, especially tillage, it's on such a time, it's so time critical that it's easier for us to hire in big custom guys to get it done in a timely manner. In our area, we are very fortunate to have many custom operators. We work with one or two of them. We have a good relationship. Plans are in place before we cut hay down, for example, just to make sure they can come and they come, and we're always in constant communication. So that has been great. When we get the bill in the mail, it's like, holy, wow, that's a lot again. But when you take the price of equipment these days and the repairs, it's justifiable. And then labor is an issue too. We don't have enough hands around to make everything work the way it should when we need it to, especially if there's lambs being born in the barn. You know, if we're in the middle of lambing, all it takes is 1 or 2 or 3 dead lambs, and we lost money for the day. We could that money go towards the custom guides and be more available to the workers outside here.
So we have an online question. So somebody says congratulations nominees, so that would be to everybody, I'm sure. And we also have, what do you see as the biggest challenge impeding the growth of the Ontario sheep industry?
There is a lot of opportunity, but I think one of the challenges is you have to want to make it work full time. It's fairly easy to get in the industry. You can start with 25 sheep, you can start with 100 sheep, but you really have to be committed to do like that big jump to be home full time, which at a certain size you really do have to be home full time to manage it properly, to really get that investment back and to make a really good go at it.
And yeah, I get that question a lot, and it's one of those things too, the more time you put in, the more you get out of it as well.
I've sometimes compared it to dairy farming too. I grew up on a dairy farm, and we might not have to milk morning and night at 6 p.m., but we still need to be there. We still need to commit to it full time. So we kind of take a bit of that mentality towards it too. We really do need to be invested to make a good go at it.
Okay, fantastic presentation. Thank you so much for that. I'm wondering if you can talk about marketing on your farm. You've done a lot of growth in terms of the sheep component on your operation, and can you tell us a little bit about how you market your lambs?
I guess, so we've got the 3 sides. We've got the breeding stock, the meat lambs, and now we've got the wool side added to it as well. So for the meat lambs, we're working with the local processors, so that's been really nice that we can have some of that direct feedback. They're nice and close, so usually it's pretty quick. You know, he'll call and give us a specific order for that week, and generally we can fill it in the peak size of group. So that's been really nice. If any don't fit into that processor, we can always send them to auction, and auction has always been really good, and the sheep market in general over the past about 8 years has been really strong, so that's been nice. And for the breeding stock, it's been a way that we can add a lot of value. We're taking that extra time to do our record keeping. We know the pedigrees of each animal. We can pick the top indexing ones. So it helps us improve our flock that way, but also offer that to other producers. We're also on a number of health programs. We do certain blood tests, things like that, and kind of can give other producers an idea of the health status of our flock. Because sheep health diseases can be tricky to manage sometimes, and marketing of the wool is kind of a whole new thing, and I'm learning a lot that way. It's a bit different than wearing my farmer hat, so I kind of have to get on my product entrepreneur hat, and that's been kind of a fun new learning curve too.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you kindly, Ryan. Our third couple, Jenny Butcher and Wes Twins, please come to the front.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jenny. We're Jenny and Wes, and we're with Little Brown Cow, and we had the extreme privilege to say that we are what we wanted to be when we grew up. And it certainly hasn't been an easy journey, and so we're going to take you on that.
So even though both of Jenny and I both grew up on dairy farms, it became very clear in 2008 that neither one of us were going to be the ones that take over the family farm. So, but we still wanted a dairy farm, and we also wanted a further process, but we had very, very little assets. So anybody would have told us that that was completely impossible. But we wanted to do it anyway, so we figured out the best thing we could do is we bought 20 cows, and we thought we'd just completely focus on cash flow and go from there.
So we rented a house trailer, single wide, and we rented a barn, and we just scraped together 20 cows that we had owned, and we just got started, because that's what really matters to get to your goal, is to put one foot in front of the other, is what we found out. So when we got our 20 cows together, we had a tiny little positive cash flow, and that's all that matters, is starting with still a cash flow positive, and you can work on improving that once you have that first step down the path.
So we had both worked off farms and saved enough money to buy a small farm, certainly an unconventional farm, certainly not labeled as a dairy farm. Most of our friends told us we should rip it down, and they were probably right, but that really didn't meet the budget. So at that point, I quit my job at DHI, and I began construction full time.
So we're very fortunate that Wes had experience in the construction industry in his youth, and so he was able to do all the work inside our barn while we renovated. The thing is, cows don't make great construction help, and we did this all with the cows inside. So we poured the parlor, welded the parlor, we installed curtains on the outside of the farm, we put feeders in. It really had no resemblance of a dairy farm until we attacked it. And it took 2 full years of, again, just putting one foot in front of the other foot, trying to, continuous improvement and do a little bit better every day. And
so yeah, the end result was a very functional, very efficient facility. However, it just wasn't very pretty. But I'll take function over flash any day of the week.
So how we handled that barn renovation set the tone for how we accomplished our goals, using creativity and resourcefulness rather than resources. So for the next 10 years, that set the tone. And here's some different ways that we innovated using resourcefulness to get to where we are today.
So we worked out an agreement with our local concrete company that anytime they had a little bit of extra concrete that they didn't know where to put it, they'd come to our place, but they give us usually about 5 minutes to 30 minutes notice. So we have to make sure that we were ready to pour concrete. So this yard here was completely poured for free, just a whole lot of labor. So that allowed us to put extra stalls in the barn, and all the feeding is outside. The other picture that we have here is a pack barn that we designed for our dry cows. It consists of 2 sea containers and 40-foot trusses over top. We're able to build the facility in 3 days at a cost of $25,000, and it's 56 feet wide, houses 40 animals, and gives us a storage for dry hay and socks.
And again, with Wes's construction experience, he was able to actually design that barn, so it's pretty cool. So Jersey cows, really easy decision for us. We love Jersey cows. They're beautiful, and you might say that doesn't matter, but it matters a whole lot to us because we're marketers. So their beauty is awesome, especially in social media advertising. Oh no. Thank you. They're efficient, which is just plain necessary. They're fantastic feed converters, and we're so thankful for that. And they are the queen of quality. So that matters a whole lot inside our cheese vat. They make the highest quality milk of any bovine there is. And it also matters in our beef production because we're direct marketing. They make fantastic inner muscle marbling and really tender beef. So that's really great. Here's what's not really great. They make bull calves, and they're not very efficient at all. In fact, we learned it the hard way. We tried raising our Jersey steers for quite some time, and it was really weighing our farm down. And the thing about it is that even though the store made up for that, and made up for the value-added situation and had a higher price, we just need every aspect of our operation to function at optimal utility. So, enter beef cows. We actually have a situation on our farm, unlike any other, I'm sure, where we're milking beef genetics. And we're actually milking a cow like Cinderella here, who's half Belgian blue, half Jersey, right alongside an all-Canadian Royal Winter Fair winning cow. So she is, she got to 20 months of age, which is when all of our cows have, which is extremely young. She left us an Angus cross calf. She milked for 200 days, and each one of those 200 days she was above herd average. So we have no late lactation slump, because once we get to that slump, we send them out. And we actually don't have to feed them during the dry cow period because we send them out. So here's the real exciting part of this story. When Cinderella gets finished, on the rail, she averages 40% higher carcass weight than a Jersey steer. So we call that a win for us, a win for our customers, and a win for the environment, really.
So all of the beef that we sell at our store is 100% grass-fed. We're very lucky that we got 80 acres of rangeland pasture just next to the barn, which allows us to make our feed costs quite cheap.
So we love the dairy genetic gain, but if you know anything about genetics in dairy and probably beef cows as well, it's where rich people park their money quite often. So what we've done is we've carved out a niche for ourselves, and we have made about 25% of our herd polled. And so we believe that might be one of the highest concentration of polled dairy cows in North America.
So with our limited land base, we need to make sure that we get the maximum amount of forage we possibly can off of every acre. So we keep a very tight rotation, and we make sure that we double crop every year, everything we can, keeping the ground green at all times, which allows us to maximize our production.
So we'd be remiss if we didn't say that part of the way we've been able to grow so quick in our business is focusing on our strengths. So all of our land is custom worked, and much of our feed is purchased in, and that frees up time for us to focus on adding value to our dairy production and our beef production on our farm.
So speaking of value added, it was always a dream of ours to further process our own milk. We, at the time when we started doing this, it was just the two of us, and time was a quantity we just didn't have. So we didn't have the time to go to a course to learn how to actually make cheese. So what we did was we invested probably about $10,000 worth of milk, and we just started experimenting on our own right there in our milk house. So we made a lot of mistakes, but we learned a lot, and the dog got really fat.
So after the cows got comfortable and we were comfortable with our cows' environment, we got to move on to renovating the abattoir that was on the farm. So that was the reason we had bought the property in the first place, is it had this abattoir on it that was not so mothballed that we couldn't bring it back as a food facility, but just nice enough that it could be a legitimate facility that we could process our milk and cheese in.
So we started getting quotes for the cheese plant. They're astronomical. And at this point, we're still working on a shoestring budget. So we were coming to a roadblock, and we weren't exactly sure what we were going to do. At that point, we went on a tour down to the Catskill Mountains, and we toured about half a dozen farms down there that were called what we call boutique dairies. On average, they had about 10 cows at any one of these places. And they learned how to get around the regulations by doing things on very inexpensive but very innovative. After we took those ideas and we brought them home, and then we tried to convince our inspectors it was a good idea, and we were able to do that.
So once we had a dairy license, we simply turned the sign open. We didn't have a plan. We didn't have a whole host of products that we were going to tell people, hey, this is what we're making, you're going to buy it. Instead, we said, we have a dairy herd, we have a beef herd, and we're opening up our farm, and we want to be part of this community, and we want to know what you want, as opposed to what we're going to make. And it was a magical, magical thing. So instead of certifying ourselves humane, instead of certifying ourselves organic, whatever else you want to say, we simply said, we're going to certify ourselves transparent. And so what that means is we told people any time of the day, any time of the night, if you want to come at 3 in the morning, do it. We don't care. We have nothing to hide, and we have a tremendous amount of pride in what we're doing here. And what it did was it developed a deep level of trust with our customer base and our community that we really can't put in words for. If you ever see what happens, with our business online, we have fans and we have people that'll fight for us. And we believe it's because we've allowed ourselves to be so vulnerable and so open, and it's just created a connection with the community that we just can't duplicate in any way, shape, or form.
So we've had everybody from Girl Guides to seniors clubs come to our farm. It's totally free, and we figure we've had about probably 50,000 people since we opened up about 5 years ago. Tour the farm.
So showing cows has been a big fetish of ours, and we really feel like it puts some pomp and circumstance to the love for our cows, and it really attaches some feelings and some real visuals for our consumers to understand just how much we value cows, giving them a bath, a haircut, et cetera, et cetera. And so in 2019, we were so fortunate to win the Royal Winter Fair. And it was a big thrill, but I think it was a bigger thrill for our customers because they were so behind us.
So in 2017, we were met with an incredible opportunity. The property just around the corner from our farm came up for sale, and it was incredible just for the fact that it was already zoned as a farmer's market. But with the theme that kind of goes with everything that we've done, it required an incredible amount of work to get it back up to operation.
So as you can see, that's the work part in the bottom left-hand corner. But we now are at the point where we are thinking that we put about 5,000 people per week through our store. And it's legitimately a place that you can buy 100% of your groceries from our store. And the really cool thing is we dub it the local food emporium. And what that means is virtually every single thing in our store is sourced more or less from 100 kilometers. And certainly Ontario, and then Canada after that. But you can seriously buy all your groceries 100% local, and we think that's really cool.
So something really cool happened here this summer because we met our lifetime goal. So as an on-farm processor, it was always our goal to sell 100% of our milk directly from our farm. And we accomplished that just this April. We also sell 100% of the beef that we produce from our farm as well. We were able to sell this milk in a kind of special way. We developed a system by which people can come and fill their own containers of milk as if it's basically on tap, just like water. So that allows people to buy large volumes of milk if that's what they prefer.
So we're not just trying to sell food. We're not just trying to sell food doing what we do. We're trying to legitimately change the food system. And we're trying to put the hands of food back in the control of the farmers. Great example, we had a big fetish that we were going to charge all kinds of money for food because people have money and they should spend more money on food. And someone knocked me across the side of the head and said, if you want to change the world, you have an onus to figure out how to make this efficient and put this in the hands of the many, not the rich few. And so that's what we've done. We virtually have wholesale pricing on our milk, cheese, beef, anything that we sell from our store and anything that we make ourselves, we put wholesale prices on. And the result is that we've been able to allow some of the best food in the world in the hands of our entire community, not just a few.
So when the restaurants closed due to COVID, we were very fortunate at that time that we had 2 full-time chefs working in our commercial kitchen making prepared meals for people. It really took off. And we also have a couple other unique products, including hamburgers infused with our own cheese curds, and we sell 13 different types of cheese that we actually make ourselves on the farm.
So COVID was really, really good to us, and after COVID, really cool story. We did well, and we were able to make good on every single one of those quotes that we thought were insurmountable, astronomical, and impossible to pay. So we now have what is considered a very well-functioning cheese plant with much of the modern technology that you would hope for. Great example is the HTST that Wes is pictured here with. That HTST milk pasteurizing machine increase the potential for our dairy plant by 10 times overnight. And we're so grateful that we have that because it was much, much needed earlier in the spring for a huge influx in demand in our milk. And here's a small snippet of what our cheese plant looks like today.
What? We're only 2 people.
Okay.
Questions for Jenny and Wes?
Sorry, you have to bend over.
Yeah, I get really.
Surprise.
Jenny and Wes, thank you so much for your presentation. Can you tell us about the team that you've surrounded yourself with to be able to do what you've done?
Did you look at the slide? So we're so fortunate that we have an awesome team. And something that we've learned is that when we got to sort of where we were a couple of years ago by working 100 hours a week and working so hard, and now that we have 8 full-time staff and they're fantastic staff and they're kind of managerial type people, and we pay them fairly well given the market. So if we work extra hard, it only has this much effect. Whereas if we worked 100 hours a week, that's double what everyone else is doing. If we work a few more hours a week, having so many more employees, it doesn't have the same effect. So we need to spend more time on management and really leverage our fantastic team that we have.
That was a really exciting journey you've been on so far. Any predictions on what's next?
Yeah, so this was when we were going to talk about what's next, but so our community's given us so much in the past year, especially in the past 18 months, and so we exist for the community. We don't need to be wealthy people. We live off a very modest budget, so everything they've given us, we want to give back to them. And so what we want to do is create a meeting space for our community by making a pavilion for live music, for events, for just simply green space to hang out and enjoy their visit to our farm. But most importantly, we are about to embark on an exciting journey building a barn that's totally agritourism centric. And what does that mean? We're not sure yet. But we're certainly in the serious phases of, are we going to have a zip line run through our farm? Are we going to have go-karts that go in between cow free stalls? Are we going to, yeah, no, seriously, it's a real thing. Or are we going to have a super slide that starts at the top of our silo and goes to the bottom of our hill? We're not sure yet, but we're really hoping that it's going to raise our own eyebrows, shock ourselves, and we're really hoping that it's loud enough and interesting enough that it gets known far and wide, because we really want to increase the attention that a real working farm has, not just a token sort of farm market with some extra animals on it kind of thing.
Good job, guys. Sorry, I had to shut you down there just a little early, but I am just wondering, what's been the one biggest challenge that you've certainly had lots to overcome, but do you have one that stands out that's been a big one for you?
So we started our journey, and I think you can tell that we identify as the resourceful people that didn't have resources, right? And that's really great, and it got us a long way. But we've got to let go of that identity, and we've got to learn how to be the people that have, because we are doing quite well. Our community's absolutely wrapped their arms around us, and so So we need to learn how to not be the underdogs and how to win. And so we're working really hard on that right now, and it's a real challenge. It's a challenge for us to say, no, it doesn't make a difference if we work 10 more hours a week. What makes a difference is stepping up to this management role that our community has put us in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you kindly for that. If the judges wanted to step out, take this opportunity while we cover some other housekeeping and some items that are great. I did want to take this opportunity, personally and selfishly. It's really easy to get involved in almost have tunnel vision, extreme tunnel vision, and I think that's what's beautiful about this event. All I worry about and on our farm and having myself is, oh my God, the strawberry plants are dying, or the blueberries are too soft, or nobody wants to buy our stuff. And sometimes that's all you think about, and that's maybe all that the world should think about. But I think it's exciting that seeing what's happening in agriculture with these three amazing couples here today shows you just how diverse opportunities exist, and all three of you should be very proud. So thank you for giving that opportunity, because it's amazing what you really accomplished, and kudos to you.
In 2019, the Ontario Outstanding Young Farmers Award winners were John and Joni Ruse from Brownsville. Their farm, Ruse Dairy Goats, keeps them very busy. John and Joni prepared a vlog that includes highlights of their past year. We are excited to share the vlog with you today.
Hello, fellow farmers and those in the agricultural industry. Today, I want to go back in time. We used to have been last time. Both Gal and I come from generations of farm history. All 8 grandparents were available to attend our wedding 12 years ago.
give you an address from the minister.
So, good evening, everyone. The Honorable Lisa Thompson passes on her regrets that she couldn't be here, but she was kind enough to write a letter of congratulations, and I had offered to read it for her tonight, so here we go. I'm pleased to offer my congratulations to all of the winners and nominees being honored by Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers in 2021. This year has been a challenge, but the resilience and dedication shown by our agri-food sector has been nothing short of extraordinary. I very much appreciate all your individual accomplishments and everything our farmers and other business owners collectively have achieved. Ontario's Outstanding Young Farmers Award Program is a great way to recognize the dedication and commitment of farmers like you. Thank you for the passion you bring to agriculture in Ontario. Your work helps to ensure our province's agri-food sector remains strong. As a group of outstanding farmers, I respectfully ask that you be proud of everything you have accomplished on your own farm and that you continue to lead by example. Once again, congratulations on receiving this honor and best wishes for continued success. Sincerely, the Honorable Lisa Thompson.
Thank you for that, Amy, and thank you for that, Minister.
The Ontario Outstanding Young Farmers Program is extremely grateful to the sponsors who make this program possible.
You may have noticed the numerous sponsors listed on the display screen who support the OAF program. We would not have this recognition of excellence in agriculture without the commitment and support of each of our sponsors. I encourage everyone here and at home to thank these sponsors and to support them as they have supported us here today. Our provincial sponsors are Farm Credit Canada, Trilling Insurance, Corteva Agriscience, Ontario Federation of Agriculture, the Ontario Sheep Producers, Christian Farmers Federation of Ontario, Beef Farmers of Ontario, the Grain Farmers of Ontario, John and Edie Steele, CCAN, Excalibur Insurance, and thank Dr. Farms for the amazing welcome. Yes? And Sherry Gross. Thank you. I remember lugging stuff home from BC. Yeah. I was overweight because of it, so thank you. And Sherry Gross for the amazing write-up in the Ontario Farmer. So thank you all. I believe we have a national PowerPoint at this time.
So, good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Cronin, and my husband Mike and I were nominees in 2015. And what I can say is that our Outstanding Young Farmer journey has been an incredible one, and one that we're very honored to have participated in. So from the time that we met our fellow nominees in 2015 until today, we have come into contact with an incredible network, a group of people that I can say are now some of our dearest friends, some of the most ambitious and hardworking people that I've met, some of the most creative and innovative individuals that I've met, people that have overcome incredible challenges and large barriers and always have a smile when we get together. When we get together with Outstanding Young Farmers, we always leave feeling energized and thinking about all of these new things that we might be able to do on our farm. So as the vice chair of the, or vice president of the national organization, I'm honored to be able to be here today just to talk a little bit about Canada's Outstanding Young Farmer Program. So it started way back in 1980 with the Calgary Junior Chamber of Commerce when they recognized that there was a need for something more in agriculture. We'll just skip to the next slide. And it was through this organization the very first Outstanding Young Farmers event was held. So there's 7 different regions across the country that come together each year to compete for the title of Canada's Outstanding Young Farmer. And there are always 2 winners. So the winner from each one of these regions goes to the national event and competes for that title. We'll carry on. So our mission really is to discover, to celebrate, and to recognize progress and excellence in Canadian agriculture. And I can tell you that this organization accomplishes its mission every year. There is nothing like being able to network with its incredible alumni from all over the country doing many, many different things that inspire us in incredible ways each year. Our nomination criteria, so for each of the couples that are here this evening and for the winners who make it to the national event, you need to be a managing partner or a shareholder, or you have to be 2 partners of a farming operation with an ownership stake. You need to be able to be making the majority of the farm decisions, the management decisions, and 2/3 of your income, or at least 2/3, needs to come from farming. You need to be under 40 before or on January 1st, so I can officially say that I am a middle-aged outstanding young farmer. And you must be a regional award winner to participate at the national event. And so there's a few things that the judges look at. So our judges are out now looking at our 3 incredible nominees for tonight. But they're going to look at how far they've come in their career, where they started and where they are now, how they take care of our environment and ensure that it's going to be a farm that's there for future generations. We want to look at production history and the things that you've done, our financial and management practices, and how do these couples or these farmers contribute to their community, their province, and their nation. We want to see some financial progress, and at the national event, that becomes a lot more detailed. And there's also an interview and PowerPoint component to the judging process. And of course, programs like this just can't be done without sponsors. It's an expensive program to run, and we are incredibly thankful for the sponsors that help us at the national level. So Dusty just highlighted all of our provincial sponsors at the national level. We're really pleased to have the Canadian Agricultural Partnership, the country of Canada, BEAR, CN, CIBC, John Deere, and Solio Agriculture. And we also have media partners, so when it comes to the national event, there's a lot of buzz on Twitter and in social media and helping us to get ready for the event and inform people that it's coming up so that we can create a buzz around it. So we use WS and Glacier Farm Media. And of course, BDO is a significant national sponsor. We want to thank them as well. So these were our 2019 Outstanding Young Farmer honorees, and that was the last time that we had a competition because of COVID. But you can tell it is a super fun event with incredible young people that come together, and it doesn't matter if you win or if you lose, because that is not what this competition is about. It's about the networking, it's about learning from each other, it's about making lifelong friends. So these were the winners from 2019, and incredible 2 young couples, one from New Brunswick and a couple from Quebec. PEI, and Quebec. And the alumni is the absolute best part, I think, of the whole thing, because every year we are able to come back together to build relationship, to learn from each other about what everyone has been doing, how they've overcome different challenges on their operation, and celebrate success together. So So one of the things that we do, we offer a couple of awards. So the Motherwell Award is to celebrate someone who has given back a significant contribution to the Outstanding Young Farmers program. And in 2019, we were able to honor Angela Fox. So incredible woman who has done big things on her farm. Her and her husband won the Outstanding Young Farmers. She lost her husband, but has continued to farm with her children and has been an incredible contributor to the Outstanding Young Farmer program. And there are also 2 scholarships that are offered by Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers. And so these are for folks who are pursuing a secondary degree or a diploma. And the application deadline is June 30th, so keep that in mind for next year. If you know someone that may be able to apply for the program or for this scholarship, you can go onto our website. It's quite easy to navigate. And of course, it was established in honor of Martin Street, so an incredible contributor to the program and an Ontario alumni from 1996. This is the board that we have at the national level. So our calls have been virtual. We haven't been able to see each other for a while. This is pretty exciting to have all of us come together in person this year. And that kind of wraps it up for Canada's Outstanding Young Farmers. So an incredible program. I welcome anyone to ask any questions you have or to hop onto the website and find out everything you need to know. And if you have someone who you think would be an incredible nominee from any of these regions, please nominate them to be an Outstanding Young Farmer. Thanks.
Oh, man.
Yes, okay, right.
I'll wait for the judges to congregate and for the really continued exciting part of our evening. 2 or 3 couples. You're not going to feel as if you deserve congratulations every day. You're not going to feel like you're outstanding every day. Or as if you were doing the right thing by breaking off from the norm, creating something your way. But if you didn't, you wouldn't be here, amongst and a part of Canada's greatest agriculture innovators. I found myself more often than not sitting in the middle of my greenhouse and farm, looking around and thinking, how the heck did I end up in this mess? Abby is constantly, we have fine friends, so she knows where I am. I'm not, away drinking at a bar, even though sometimes I wish I was. No, I'm just thinking, holy crap, I ended up here. But I hope that you will remember, like I, and you sit and ponder on your own farms, barns, and greenhouses, that you too will relish in days like this, and that 100% you are on the right path, and that you are all outstanding. Never forget that. Thank you, Jason and Christina Pyke, and the OIF committee members for giving me an opportunity to get off the farm and MC this evening. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite the judges to come to the front. They are amazing and important, and we are so glad that they are here. Okay, I missed a couple words. I can come back to that. Okay, we'll just.
So, Dusty, we want to hear about Easy Girl for 3 minutes.
Okay. Since my 2017 year, I was nominated by the 1999 Ontario Outstanding Young Farmer Murray Porteous. interview at the Woodstock Farm Show, Canada's Listening Farm Show, and my event was in London. At that time, I was starting a strawberry propagation greenhouse in Norfolk County, so due south of here on the shores of Lake Erie. Just moved back from working for a national large brewer, came back to the farm, wanted to bring some value add to our international strike program that was beyond for commercial producers, mostly in the southern U.S. From an initial order of 100,000 plants this year, very excited to now almost be on 4 million plants since 2017, since we started this program. This OIF program has brought me well to Penticton, which was amazingly beautiful, competing at the national level. It's an absolute whirlwind, it's so fun, and you almost forget what you're there for because everybody who's also there supporting you. I mean nothing about my heart. Got to meet my beautiful girlfriend, and we went to Winnipeg the year after and continued the party going with a lot less stress, which was really exciting. I remember for my Penticton year trying to figure out how to legally ship strawberry plants across the Rocky Mountains for my interview. And so that was, I remember walking in and Steve was there, he's like, you brought strawberry plants to your interview, and it's all part of this amazing journey. Since then, Hometown Brewery, partner brewery that I'm partnered up with, as we found a true home base in Turkey Point. Partnered with the amazing winery, Burning Kill Winery, Long Point Eco Adventures, and Magnolia Food. So that's been exciting as well. And sometimes we don't work and have fun, and but it's been a blast being part of A and being part of this OIF program. And I hope that all of you continue, regardless of the outcome this evening, being part of this network, this family, and because. Like I said earlier, it is exciting seeing what's happening in agriculture because you do get stuck in your bubble, which is fair because you need to be involved in your farm, not stop. But it's cool getting away and seeing what's going on. So it is, yeah. So it's now I'm on the joke section. We actually I'm wearing two different pants from a different suit, and a jacket from a different suit, and a brand new shirt from another wedding. So this is an absolute 1957 suit that was liquor stained from weddings and homes. So don't look at the back of my jacket, and that's why I wore black. Yeah, I'm out of here.
Any sign of the judge yet? Oh man, it must be a tough decision.
Can you guys tell a little bit about what's happening at the national event? I don't know if Steve wants to talk about it, but
Sure.
the national event in December.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Put him on.
Tall guy up here. Thanks, Maggie. I really appreciate that. Put me on the spot at the Maggie Band Camp back there. I'm Steve Cooper, 2010 alumni of the Ontario program and the current president of Canada's Outstanding Young Farmer program. Crazy set of times we all know with COVID and trying to get things going again. We've had our Ontario finalists sitting around waiting for quite a while with someone to get this done, and that's happened right across the country where we've had finalists and honorees waiting since last February for a national event. So we have an event coming up right at the very end, December 1st through 3rd. It is an online event, so you can head to the website OIF Canada, you can find some details about it. We're just going to have a small group of people with the honorees, and we'll be in Saskatoon for that. We are going to bring in the Saskatoon, get all the honorees in one spot for fair judging to make it equal across the board. We thought that was important. And we're going to get through it. It's very different. Usually our national event is quite an event. We saw some photos and pictures from New Brunswick earlier. So that's what's going to happen this year. It should be a very good event. We've got the wonderful Crystal Mackay, who I think we're going to hear from in a bit. That's running our forum. We have some fellow, I believe by the name of, I'm not sure I'm going to get this right, Quick Dick Ontario guy. What are you gonna do, right? That's the entertainment. We've got a really good program. We're working really, really hard to put something really high quality together for the December 1st through 3rd. And then the plan moving forward after that, assuming 2022 is normal-ish, we will again be in Saskatchewan for a full-on event as we're used to, and then 2023 is Quebec and moving on from there. So that's kind of a little update of where we're going and what's happening with oifcanada.com. Find the link, tune in. We have a Twitter account and a brand new, should be formed soon, Facebook account as well. So that's where you can find us. Again, thanks, Maggie. That was great. And congratulations to all the finalists. Obviously, the judges are having a heck of a time. I've sat in the judge's chair in the past myself, so I know what they're going through. And it takes time. It means our crew of OIF Ontario has done a heck of a job getting really top quality nominees. So that's a good sign, actually. So they have a tough job. Anyways, thank you so much.
I think they're coming. Boy, oh boy, these finalists have made a very long and I believe that they are possibly on their way.
In the interim, I'm going to be individually asking up each of the three couples to please come to the front and receive your gift from Mr. Jason. First, if I could have Jenny and West, please.
It might just do, yes. No. Thanks very much.
Ryan and Romy. Mike and Danielle.
Yeah, no. You get to say something. Yeah, you're saying something. No. All right.
So at this time, after some good deliberation, I would like to invite the judges to come to the front. They are amazing and important, and we are so glad they are here. When I introduce you, please come on up. Jordan Mackay from Willow Tree Farms in Port Perry. Jordan and his brother Alex were OAF Award winners in 2018. Crystal Mackay from Loft 32. And Mike Cronin from Cronin Family Farms in Bluevale. Mike and Amy were OIF Award winners in 2015. Our judges are a diversified group coming from different aspects of the agricultural sector, and we are most appreciative for their help this year. Thank you again. So now I'd like to call on Mike to make a few comments on behalf of the judge.
He delegated.
Oh, okay. You gotta tell the MC.
decision. And, the old saying is it's really, when you're comparing apples to oranges, well, try comparing peppers to sheep to little brown cows is really, really tough. The best part of this job is all of you are outstanding. So we already had that part checked off the beginning, and then the really difficult part came trying to divide by category on who's a little bit less outstanding and a little bit more outstanding. So I want you to all be extremely proud of yourselves. All of you are humble by nature, and it's hard to describe yourself as outstanding. But regardless of the announcement you're going to hear in a minute, you are all outstanding and young farmers, which is also something to be proud of too. So thank you for being part of the process. Thank you to my fellow judges. Really great deliberation on a tough decision.
So just before we make the announcement, I know, I'm sorry guys, I'm done after this. But I would also like to take a moment to thank the OIF committee members who are responsible for planning this event. And they are Dana Thatcher, Amy Cronin, Steve Cooper, and Jason and Christina Pyke. Thank you. On behalf of all the planning committee, we would like to express our appreciation to everyone here and you at home for attending the 2021 Ontario's Outstanding Young Farmer event. The 2021 Ontario's Outstanding Young Farmers are Jenny Butcher and Wes Kuntz.
Thank you. We're really truly humbled because when we sat and watched the other two presentations, I said, wow, I think like 5 or 6 times in both presentations, like the photography and love that you guys have in your farm and where your greenhouse operation has gone, and in the number of years it has, it's just wowing, and I'm just so thankful and humbled for everyone that's put this event on and participated. We're thankful, and yeah.
Very happy to be able to participate in the conversations we had today. It was so inspiring that there's people out there just as crazy as us. We're not alone, and I mean, yeah, the idea is that and the inspiration that people have is in this group is yeah, it was pretty overwhelming today. We're glad to be part of it.
So we hope you all enjoy this evening. Thank you for being here, and thanks for tuning in online. And we hope you can join us again next year. Thank you, and congratulations, everyone.
Thanks.
Isn't Jeopardy looking for somebody?